Well, good evening, everybody. Everybody get their taxes done? All right. Thank you all for showing up tonight to the 2026 Goleta Community State of the City. I'm Kelly Hoover, the Community Relations Manager. It's my honor to be here with you tonight. Well, on behalf of all of us here at the City of Goleta, we are so excited that you're here for the Goleta's biggest night of the year. We have a great night planned for you. For the first time ever, the entire City Council will be a part of delivering the 2026 State of the City Address, followed by an update from our City Manager, Robert Nisbet. And we're going to end the night with the Mayor's favorite part of the night, our Q&A segment. This is where you can ask a question. Just put it on an index card if you haven't already. And if you all see Marcos Martinez in the back of the room, at any point you can write a question and put it in the box, and we'll try to answer it at the end of the night with our directors. So speaking of questions, we wanted to hear from some of our younger residents, so we headed over to La Patera Elementary School and asked some sixth graders some questions, and here's what they said.
One thing I love the most is that there's a bunch of restaurants with different cultures, and there's a bunch of different foods that I can enjoy.
Nobody takes everything super serious. We're very chill, and just the natural beauty of this place.
The ocean is so clear and nice to swim in.
I like the mountains and the view and all the kind people.
I really love all the restaurants and how it's kind of like a beach town.
I like that Goleta is really beautiful and safe.
What I love from Goleta is the ocean, and the view from the mountains is just really beautiful.
I think some of the most important problems are all the homeless people, and the city should fix it by making more homeless shelters.
A lot of people can't afford to live in Goleta because the houses are really expensive or groceries are really expensive, and they can't afford to live in this place.
I believe a huge problem is not accepting other people. We should accept everybody's beliefs, religions, and ideas.
One of the problems our city should work on is roads and crosswalks, because bad roads could be dangerous and potentially life-threatening.
They recently took away our bike jumps, and I think we should keep them.
One of the most important things I think we should focus on in the world is keeping ice out to children and most adults, unless they actually did something bad.
If I was on city council for a day, the first thing I would do is try to bring down the cost of living and bring up the pay of workers like teachers.
I would make the school food taste better. I would treat everyone equally and make everyone feel safe.
I would also build a Jollibee's because I am sad there isn't a Jollibee's here.
I don't think there's a reason for people other than hunters to have guns in their homes or with them.
I think that I would enforce rules about people getting vapes and cigarettes, because too many younger people are getting their hands on it, and it's not good.
I would make construction projects move faster and outlaw banning books.
I would continue conserving the parks and the lakes.
I love Goleta.
Yo amo Goleta.
I love Goleta.
I love Goleta.
I love Goleta.
I love Goleta.
Yo amo Goleta.
I love Goleta.
I love Goleta.
Yo amo Goleta!
Woo!
Thank you, La Patera, for your great insight. So now, before we move on to the State of the City address, we want to acknowledge some special guests in our audience tonight, and of course, all of you are our special guests. Our mayor and council are in the front row here, and you're going to hear from them tonight, so I'm not going to introduce each of them. And then we also have, from Senator Monique Lamone's office, Ian Bakke is here. Representing Congressman Salud Carbajal's office, Erica Reyes is here. Representing Assemblymember Greg Hart's office is Emily Thole. And we're really excited tonight to have the mayor of Buellton here, David Silva. There he is. And also representing the men and women of the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office, we have Sheriff Brown here tonight. And we also have a number of our Goleta police here as well. I'm looking at Sergeant Rivas here. And we also have representing the men and women of the Santa Barbara County Fire Department, our new Fire Chief, Garrett Huff. From the Isla Vista Community Services District, we have Jonathan Aboud and Spencer Brandt. And we also have a number of stakeholders here tonight. We would be here all night if I mentioned all of them. But if you are a stakeholder for Goleta and you help us in any way, will you please stand? Thank you. We also want to recognize those who serve on one of the city's 9 boards or commissions. Please stand so we can give you a round of applause. Thank you for dedicating your time and your talent. And speaking of talent, we want to thank our keyboardist tonight. He's a junior at Dos Pueblos High School, Tyler McCutcheon. And just to add some fun to tonight, and since I watch a ton of baseball, we are going to have walk-up songs for each of the council members, so be sure and listen for that. We also want to thank the Dos Pueblos High School Jazz Band for performing in the gazebo before the event. Events like these do not happen without a ton of help, and we really want to thank our city communications team, Jamie Shaw, and Marcos Martinez. And we want to thank our Goleta Community Center staff and also our general services and everyone who is a part of setting up for tonight and making it happen. And of course, all the staff who were in the mingling hour and had the information tables. We hope you all enjoyed that. Since we have a captive audience, we want to point you to a couple of events that are coming up for the city. This weekend on Saturday the 18th, it's Beautify Goleta's Earth Day from 9 a.m. till noon at Stowe Canyon Open Space. 1 week from today, right here, Goleta Public Works is holding its first ever Street Talk. It's Wednesday, April 22nd, in this room from 5:30 to 7, and this night is dedicated to talk about transportation and roads in Goleta, so we hope to see all of you back here 1 week from tonight. Also happening here is the Senior Expo on Thursday, April 23rd from 10 to 1. And this is a must-attend event for our seniors, of course. And then we got the 4th of July drone show returning for a second year at Dos Pueblos High School. The first show was a part of yet another great year in the good land. Let's take a look.
Welcome to Goleta's first ever 4th of July drone show right here at the Dos Pueblos High School Stadium.
This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
Goleta's leading us in the direction of getting involved, caring about our community, and it's involving high school students all the way up to people that are older.
We love the Goleta Valley Library!
It's a real place where we can do real, tangible improvements to it.
I love it, and I will always come back. And she's not that old.
How lucky are we to live in this beautiful community? I think everyone out there agrees. So now is the time to move on to the focus of the night, which is our State of the City address. And for that, I would like to introduce a woman who really, at this point, really needs no introduction. Paula Perotti has been our dedicated mayor for the past 8 years. She made history by being the first elected mayor in 2018 and was reelected twice after that. She has called Goleta home for the past 40 years. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to our mayor, Paula Perotti.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for that. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. Good evening. It's my honor to lead off the 2026 State of our City and proudly proclaim once again that the state of our city is strong, very strong indeed. That doesn't mean that we're without challenges. In fact, the opposite is true. As President John F. Kennedy once observed about government, when things are non-controversial, beautifully coordinated, and all the rest, it must mean there's not much going on. Well, there's a great deal going on in Goleta on many fronts, and I can honestly tell you there's never a dull moment. Our strength lies not only in what we've accomplished and the investments we are making for the future, our strength lies in how we govern through collaboration and teamwork. It lies on our elected and appointed officials, dedicated city staff, and most importantly, in the active participation of our residents. One program that embodies this spirit is our LEAD Academy, a free 6-week interactive program. LEAD stands for Learn, Empower, Advocate, Discuss. Participants gain insight into our city's departments, our budget, and how elected officials, staff, and residents work together to move Goleta forward. And just as importantly, we gain insights from them. Sometimes I hear misimpressions from some Academy participants and others first learning our city's ins and outs. One such misconception is that as Goleta's mayor, I somehow direct all the planning, make all the decisions, and am responsible for all of our successes and missteps. That impression may come from seeing me preside over meetings or because I'm the only council member elected citywide. However, very soon, LEAD Academy participants discovered the reality. I am but one vote on a 5-member city council. In fact, all council members vote on all issues citywide, not just the issues in the district of which they were elected. Also, our decisions result from the hard work and expertise of our professional staff and thoughtful testimony and advocacy by residents. Our progress is shared work, shared responsibility, shared success. So tonight, we're going to illustrate that principle in action. I am turning over much of the state of the city to my council colleagues, our staff, and to you who are here tonight. Each council member will speak about topics residents often tell us they care about the most, and that would be public safety, transportation and circulation, housing, and public services, such as recreation and protection of our natural resources. Our city manager will then provide a view of our excellent city finances, an area that underpins everything we do. And we will conclude with something equally as important, asking your questions to our staff and to any of us. Because good government is not a monologue, it's a dialogue. Tonight, relying on my colleagues and city manager to deliver our state of the city illustrates another reason I confidently say our city is strong. Goleta's successes result from far more than who exercises the duties of mayor. It depends on all of us. So now, we'll kick this off, and now I'd like to, it's my pleasure to introduce Councilmember Luz Reyes-Martin of the 1st District.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, everybody. Well, good evening. It's such an honor to join you for Goleta's State of the City. As a council member, I've worked alongside my colleagues at City Hall to live up to the goal of making Goleta a place where everyone belongs. One example of this I want to share has been how we've responded to increased immigration enforcement over the last year. In response, the City Council took action to support our residents by passing a resolution in support of our immigrant community members and by investing $100,000 in local organizations providing legal, mental health, and basic needs support. The city also committed to continued coordination with our regional partners and to sharing accurate information so that Goleta families are not facing this moment alone. And I have to give my thanks to the many residents and volunteers throughout the city who daily continue to show up for their neighbors and do their part to make sure that residents know that in Goleta, we look out for each other. In my service on the council, I have the privilege of seeing firsthand the care, dedication, and hard work that goes into making Goleta not just a welcoming place to live, but one where we prioritize emergency preparedness, public safety, and securing an environmentally resilient future. Tonight, I want to share some more on these areas. As I mentioned, public safety, emergency preparedness, and protecting our environment. The importance of these areas reflects the values and priorities of our residents. Our values shape the decisions we make, the projects we invest in, and the partnerships that keep our community strong. I want to acknowledge and thank some important individuals who safeguard our city every day, our first responders. I'm glad some of them are here tonight. We recently welcomed a new Chief of Police Services, Lieutenant Jarrett Morris, and a new County Fire Chief, Garrett Huff. Thank you for being here. We thank all our first responders for their presence and unwavering service to our city. We depend on them in our most challenging moments, like wildfires, traffic incidents, community emergencies, and they show up each and every time with skill and professionalism. Just in 2025, the Santa Barbara County Fire Department responded to more than 3,000 incidents in the city of Goleta. Almost 2,000 of those were paramedic related. And there were more than 100 vehicle accidents that they responded to and more than 30 fires. This past year, we've taken major steps forward in emergency preparedness and community safety. One key accomplishment is the long-awaited work to stabilize the crib wall on the western edge of Goleta, a project that may not be visible to most residents, but plays a crucial role in reducing risk and reinforcing safety infrastructure in our community. These are the kinds of investments that make us more resilient long before an emergency arises. We also saw the return of our basic CERT classes, Community Emergency Response Team Training. These courses equip residents with the knowledge and skills to support their families and neighbors in the critical minutes after an emergency. Bringing back CERT strengthens Goleta's community culture of preparedness and care. In addition to the 40-plus CERT graduates, 200 residents took advantage of our community disaster education workshops. Up next, we are developing a Goleta CERT Disaster Service Worker Volunteer Program. So stay tuned to see how you can be part of that effort. We also took an important step to protect the health of our most vulnerable residents. Recognizing the disproportionate impacts of wildfire smoke and poor air quality, in March, the city partnered with the Air Pollution Control District to distribute more than 400 free air purifiers to households right here in Old Town Goleta. This action was about equity, health, and ensuring that no community is left behind during smoke events or environmental hazards. Of course, preparing for the future also means caring for our environment, our natural resources, and planning for a more sustainable and resilient future. Over the past year, Goleta has made steady, meaningful progress. We've expanded access to public electric vehicle charging, improved energy efficiency in city facilities, advanced our waste reduction and organics recycling efforts, and continued our work to protect creeks, open spaces, and sensitive habitats. These aren't just policy wins, they're commitments to our long-term well-being and to the natural beauty that makes Goleta so special. All of our city facilities are operating on 100% renewable energy, from solar and wind, including the building we're all in right now. Yes. We are on track to meet our local and state climate goals. Stay tuned for the launch of Climate Ready Goleta to help our city continue to prepare for the impacts of climate change. Our first phase will focus on the coast and coastal hazards such as sea level rise, coastal erosion, and flooding. Across all of these accomplishments, the message is clear. Goleta is investing wisely, planning responsibly, and putting our residents first. We're building a city that is safe, resilient, and environmentally responsible, not just today, but for future generations. I'm so proud of what we've achieved together, and I'm grateful to our city staff, our public safety partners, community organizations, and to all of you, our residents, for your ongoing support and engagement. Together, we will continue building a safer, healthier, and more sustainable Goleta. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce to you your second district council member, James Kiriakou.
Good evening, Goleta. So I want to begin by thanking Councilmember Reyes-Martin for her remarks. And I also want to thank our mayor for the opportunity to speak to you tonight, to address our community and share an update on the state of transportation and circulation here in Goleta. If I had to describe the state of our city in just a few words, I would say this: Goleta is under construction but wait, there's more. Making progress as promised. To our residents, visitors, and our local businesses, I say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience. Across our community, you can see the results of a city that is investing seriously in its future. We are repairing the infrastructure that we inherited, we are improving safety, and we are expanding transportation options so that all of our residents have real choices in how they move around our city. As a young La Patera Tiger said, if you don't have good roads, that's really bad. Let me begin with one of the most transformative projects that's underway, the new Goleta train station. This long-anticipated project is now under construction, but it's scheduled to open this summer. Imagine all those tech workers commuting from Ventura, from Camarillo, from Oxnard, not on the freeway with you. For decades, literally for decades, our region has talked about the promise of commuter rail. But we know that people will only choose transit when it's safe, accessible, reliable, consistent, and welcoming. And that welcoming part is one of the big reasons why that train station is so important. Thanks to a $13 million grant, thank you SBCAG, thank you our state leaders, Goleta is building a modern, full-service, multimodal station that will strengthen rail ridership, improve connections to local transit, bicycle and pedestrian facilities. It's also going to have electric charging stations for your car. It will also position our city for future rail expansion. This project is critical to the long-term success of commuter rail, and I look forward to partnering with our local business community to increase ridership for those workers coming from Ventura, Oxnard, and communities further south. Now, at the same time, we know that a strong transportation system also means well-maintained streets. Whether you travel on major corridors like Cathedral Oaks, Kai Real, or Hollister Avenue, or on residential streets like Cambridge, Pacific Oaks, and Armidos, it is clear that we still have work to do. We should be honest about that. We still have work to do. That's why the passage of Measure B in 2022 was such a turning point for our city. Before Measure B, Goleta invested about $700,000 per year in pavement maintenance from the general fund. Today, that investment has increased nearly ninefold to $6.3 million annually across multiple funds. Yeah, let's hear it for that. And what we say to that is, it's a start. These resources are allowing us to finally make the long overdue improvements our residents expect and deserve. And you can see this progress firsthand in Western Goleta along Cathedral Oaks Road. There we repaved the street to improve travel for drivers, while also taking the opportunity to do a little bit more. We added a parking protected bike path, back in angled parking, and safer conditions for everyone using the corridor. Nearly all of Cathedral Oaks now, west of Glen Annie, can safely be traveled by bike without interacting with any vehicle traffic. And when the Cathedral Oaks crib wall that Councilmember Reyes-Martin mentioned earlier is completed, we will enhance safety for vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists there as well. That project is currently in the final design and bidding stage, and it'll move into construction later this year. Last year alone, our street maintenance program budget totaled $8.7 million. With carryover funds, we invested more than $10.5 million in roadway improvements. As we prepare to adopt the 2026-2027 budget this June, I am confident we will continue to build on this momentum. Goleta residents and visitors alike deserve safe, smooth, and reliable streets. As we look east towards Old Town Goleta, I want to speak about the Hollister Avenue Interim Striping Project, an effort rooted in community advocacy and a commitment to safety. This conversation began more than a decade ago with a 4-hour-long city council meeting that Mayor Prodi, I'm sure, remembers very well. That conversation followed serious crashes and tragic pedestrian fatalities that made clear change was necessary. Over many years of public meetings and dialogue, the community helped shape a balanced solution. Today, we can see the results. Speeds are lower, safety has improved, and traffic is moving efficiently. The project added 19 new parking spaces to benefit residents and local businesses, while also improving visibility at intersections through strategic red curbing. Parallel parking was preserved on the south side of Hollister, and new off-street parking lots, adding more than 70 spaces, are now open, clearly signed, and easily found online. Finally, as we look at progress with Project Connect, the largest public works project in our city history, we see exciting progress taking shape. 2 new roundabouts are constructed and operating well. Soon they will be improved with additional pedestrian facilities and landscaping that will create a welcoming gateway into the cultural heart of our city. Imagine being able to come into Goleta from one direction and seeing hopefully a beautifully restored Barnsdall Rio Grande service station welcoming you from the west, and from the east, some beautiful new infrastructure benefiting Eastern Goleta and Old Town Goleta. The Equal Street extension will provide an additional east-west connection, while the San Jose Creek multimodal path, after 30 years, will finally be open and offer a safe north-south route for pedestrians and cyclists, linking Old Town to Kai Real, Cathedral Oaks, and Goleta Beach. Nobody does this work by themselves. We couldn't do it without our federal, state, and local partners. Thank you, Congressman Carbajal. Thank you, Senate Pro Tem Limon. Thank you, State Assembly Member Hart, and everyone that came before. And thank you in advance to the people that are going to come after for making all these things possible. To our residents, our businesses, and visitors, thank you for your patience again during this period of construction. The work is not always easy, but it is necessary and almost over. Almost over. And it is leading us towards a safer, more connected, and more resilient Goleta. The future we are building is nearly here. Thank you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our Mayor Pro Tem, Jennifer Smith, representing District 3.
Good evening, everyone. It's so wonderful to see so many residents here this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to be here. One of the best parts about serving on the City Council is working with community members like you who care so deeply about where we live and this future that we're building together. So tonight, I'd like to share a few highlights from the past year related to services, parks, recreation, and community spaces like these that bring us together. So one project many families have been eagerly anticipating is the new splash pad at the splash pad at the Johnny D. Wallace Neighborhood Park. Had a few twists and turns, but construction is now complete and the city is finishing final preparations. And so it's expected that the splash pad will officially open with a ribbon cutting that's planned for May 21st, heading into Memorial Weekend. And it will give kids and families a fun place to gather, play, and cool off during the warm months. In addition, supporting families has also been a priority, especially when it comes to childcare. In December of '24, the city invested $250,000 to strengthen childcare options for local families, helping to ensure that working parents have reliable and affordable care. Through partnerships with the Santa Barbara Foundation, the United Way, Children's Resource and Referral, and Women's Economic Ventures, we are helping childcare providers expand their programs, navigate licensing, and offer scholarships for families. And we are already seeing results. We have 2 new providers who have become fully licensed, which added 14 new childcare spaces, and additional providers are moving through the licensing process. We've also provided expansion grants and scholarships that help local programs grow and while also supporting families who need that access to care. This year also marks an important milestone, 20 years of city stewardship of the Elwood Mesa. For 2 decades, this extraordinary coastal open space has been protected so residents and visitors can enjoy the trails, wildlife, and breathtaking ocean views that so many of our youngsters referenced in that video. Over the past year, we've continued restoring habitat, planning for long-term protection of this special place. More than 1,000 volunteers have assisted us with this effort. We also celebrated this milestone with the film, The Elwood Mesa Beyond the Bluffs, which highlights the history and ecological importance of this space. We had 2 full house screenings of the film at the Camino Real Cinemas, and it has more than 20,000 views on YouTube. So if you haven't seen it yet, it is online. I really recommend that you check it out. Also, starting soon, look for improvements coming at Stowe Grove Park, which is one of Goleta's most cherished community parks. Yes. Phase 1 of the project includes a new universal playground, parking lot improvements, a new restroom facility, and a walkway connecting the parking area to the playground. And these upgrades will make the park more accessible, welcoming, and enjoyable for everyone. In addition, our community gathering spaces continue to play an important role in our daily lives. Right here, this Goleta Community Center remains a vibrant hub for classes, programs, and events for residents of all ages. This historic building turns 100 years old next year and will undergo a number of capital improvement upgrades to improve functionality and accessibility for the building. And the library has also entered a new exciting chapter. While the Goleta Valley Library is temporarily closed for major renovation, the city opened the Goleta Valley Library Express to keep books, services, and staff accessible to the community. And the book van is on the move with an updated route and hours of operation to meet the community where they are and increase access to services. The city and community are also working together to raise funds for the interior upgrades. So that includes new furnishings, improved technology, and welcoming spaces that's designed for how people are using libraries today. And there's still opportunity for community members to be a part of that effort. And finally, we're excited about some upcoming ways to bring the community together. As was referenced earlier, Goleta hosted its first 4th of July drone show at Dos Pueblos High School last year, creating a memorable celebration for our city. And based on the great response, we're planning another show this Independence Day, and we look forward to seeing many of you there. All of these efforts reflect our shared commitment to maintaining the quality of life that makes Goleta such a special place to live, work, and play. None of this would be possible without the dedication of our city staff, community partners, and residents like you who stay engaged and involved. So thank you for being part of what makes Goleta strong and connected together. I'm proud of what we've accomplished over this past year, and I look forward to the year ahead. Thank you very much. And now it's my pleasure to introduce District 4 Councilmember Stuart Kasdan.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tempore Smith. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you tonight about two important topics, housing and homelessness. The biggest challenge for many of our residents is the high cost of housing. In Goleta and the surrounding South Coast area, slightly more than half of renter households spend greater than 30% of their income on rent. Moreover, 25% of renters are severely burdened, meaning they spend greater than half of their income on rent, leaving little for food or medicine. With the direction of the state, the city has enabled new housing to be built by rezoning properties that were previously zoned as commercial or agricultural. The premise is that by increasing the supply of new housing, it will lead to lower rents overall. In total, between new rezones and land already zoned for housing, the city had to show enough residentially zoned land to accommodate 1,837 new units. Note that in addition, the County of Santa Barbara also rezoned land in our area, enabling 3,834 new housing units in the area of South Patterson and Glen Annie. So it's 1837 and 3,834. So for context, Goleta has 12,700 in total in the city. So it's a big increase. There are two challenges that we face with this new housing. First, we're trying to make sure that the added new housing is compatible with the surrounding area. That means we will try and mitigate traffic congestion impacts as much as possible. Collecting impact fees from developers should help us adjust the roads and intersections to maintain traffic safety and flow. And we've created objective design standards that all projects must adhere to, and which should help encourage some units to contribute to the neighborhood in an appropriate way. However, we will be somewhat limited in our ability to trim a project to better fit the existing road capacity because the state has made it very difficult for cities to adjust housing density at a site. But more to come on that. The other challenge is to try and get housing that meets the needs of the city. That too will be a tough one. As part of the housing process directed by the state, the city was required to identify sites sufficient to accommodate 1,006 very low and low-income units. That meant that we rezoned commercial land specifying that the new housing built there had to have a housing density of no less than 20 units an acre. Whether we get this affordable below market rate housing is yet to be seen. We will use every tool available to get more affordable housing or even housing for the missing middle. It may be using financial incentives, as we did with Heritage Ridge, or the power of persuasion can help get to some of these. This housing might be deed-restricted housing, or it might be housing that is affordable by design, like accessory dwelling units. We have had previous success. As I just alluded, at Heritage Ridge, the developer had no requirement to provide affordable units. Indeed, the original developer indicated they had no intention to do so. But a new developer opted to voluntarily provide 104 units of affordable, that is below market rate housing at the site, or 31% of the total units. The city helped make this possible, providing several different incentives And the question is, can we repeat that success? Finally, one of the ways that housing costs affect us in particular is associated with homelessness. There's a variety of causes for homelessness, but one of the biggest reasons is simply the high cost of housing. For a person unable to generate savings, one medical emergency and they can become homeless. For our most recent point-in-time count in 2025, there were 217 homeless people, and that was a 68% increase since 2024. Of these, 74, that's 106, were living in vehicles, and that's a 95% increase from the previous year. Countywide, for each person housed, 2 become homeless. So that in Goleta in 2025, even as we succeeded in housing 63 people, 105 entered homelessness. Thus, to have an impact, we need to both continue to provide affordable housing opportunities, as well as to devise ways to halt the addition of new homeless through prevention strategies. Again, the Heritage Ridge Project provides housing for 40 very low families and 60 homeless people and people with disabilities. In addition, working with the County Housing Authority in 2024, we added the Buena Tierra housing with 60 units, providing housing for 36 chronic homeless, 15 young homeless adults, as well as 8 recuperative care. And we have added a new prevention strategy to enable those facing eviction to get access to mediation and financial services to help stave off homelessness. Sorry, there was a typo here, and it says to get medication, which if you're facing eviction, I suppose that's something. We'll be evaluating additional prevention opportunities for the year ahead. It will be a challenging year ahead, but there are real opportunities to provide housing that benefits the community. And working together, we can get it. And now I'd like to introduce our city manager, Robert Nisbeth, to give an update on our city's finances. Thank you.
Anyone recognize that song? Money. Pink Floyd. That's all I listened to back in 11th grade, a very long time ago. Nice to see everyone. Thank you for coming out. I get to wrap up, and I will focus a little bit on finances, but I do want to spend some time with economic development because I think there's some really interesting things going on in the city of Goleta right now. But first, I want to focus on our employees, our most important resource. So these first 2 slides are showing new employees that we hired in the past year. Every department in the city of Goleta is represented on these slides. Not that we had a ton of turnover, but turnover does happen. And we have a diverse workforce, very beautiful as you can see. And these are part-time staff, mostly library staff here, a couple of interns, part of our internship program in the Public Works Department. And then next slide, we also like to promote from within. And so here are promotions in various departments over the past year. Most of these are either in the Planning Department or the Public Works Department. So now I will hit the finances briefly and then turn over to economic development. So I normally show these slides. I've rolled them all up this year. I'm going to show our general fund revenue trend and then our general fund expenditure trend. So nothing shocking here. This is the 5-year trend. You can see it incrementally going up over the years. And you can see the orange square that was mentioned earlier by one of our council members, I think Cariaco, Measure B. So that started in fiscal year 23-24, half a year, and then full year since then. And you can see the effect that Measure B has had on our general fund. And the last column is what we're already projecting for next fiscal year. Our recommended budget will be going to the council in May and June of this year, and we will be recommending a balanced budget to the council. So we're looking pretty good. I was recently at a chamber event just a few days ago, and even though we're feeling okay, I made the comment that I just don't think this is a time for anyone in local government to be comfortable. There's just too many kind of crazy things going on that would affect both our revenues and our expenditures. So it is a time for us to be cautious and be happy that we're going to be able to recommend a balanced budget this year. Expenditure slide. So this is a pie chart by department. I don't know if you can read all that. I would say what stands out here probably are the three biggest slices of pie. Where do we spend all the money? It's a mixture of things, but the biggest slice of pie is public works. You saw some slides about all the work we're doing, all the construction, all the paving. Number two, capital improvements. Probably no surprise there. That probably fluctuates a bit, but we are, as mentioned by Councilmember Carriaco, in a construction time right now. So that one's second, and then public safety is third, 16% of our general fund budget. Now I want to focus on economic development. So these are just some indicators that are interesting. I won't read them all. I do think the first one's very interesting. Unemployment rate in Goleta is lower than the rest of Santa Barbara County. That's a good thing, 2.8%. Hotel occupancy, 76%. That's considered pretty good if you're in the industry. I think over 70% is generally considered pretty good. The rate of 309, also considered good, unless you're coming here, and then you'd probably wish for a cheaper hotel room. But it's good for us because we generate 12% TOT on top of that. You can see the other stats there. Medium household income, $122,000. Medium home price, $1.4 million. That's very expensive, as has been mentioned. But I do believe that these indicators, kind of taking as a whole, is showing a strong economy in Goleta. The unemployment rate clearly is good. 2,200 businesses, also good. I think what's indicative here is strong local spending and also strong tourism, which is also part of the major driver of our economy. Next slide, please. So some of these have been mentioned, but they do, these events that have been mentioned by others are part of our economic development model. Having special events does help drive our economy, brings people to the town, spend money in Goleta. So these have all been mentioned, but the city is investing in major community events. Meet Me in Old Town. We have 2 more coming up this June. The 4th of July drone show, you've seen that. And then it's also been mentioned that we are host city for the Austrian team for the FIFA World Cup. That's also in June. And then and then the bullet points down below, we are expanding pro-business programs and financial support, the Old Town Pop Grant program, our business recognition program that started last year, lowered business fees in Old Town for 1 year, kind of a thank you for your patience with the construction gesture that the council made that was very nice. And so forth. And so I believe these are also supporting placemaking by helping create vibrant, visible, and welcoming business districts. And these initiatives directly support small businesses, increase visibility, and help and attract local employees. Next slide, please. So this slide is the one I showed at the chamber event, and I do think this slide is pretty astounding. I'll spend a minute or two on it. So at the chamber event, I went through what I thought were just 5 interesting happenings that have happened recently in Goleta. I don't know exactly what they mean, but they're pretty astounding. So number 1 box, in the last, 2 weeks ago, one of the biggest property transactions occurred kind of quietly in Goleta. Was 5 tech parks, 17 buildings, over 700,000 square feet. I think someone said it's the biggest, $235 million on this. What does it mean? We don't exactly know. It certainly is interesting. 95% of the space in these buildings is currently leased to either aerospace, defense, or very deep tech businesses. So something is happening. The next The next one, Google is live and well in Goleta. They have at least 4 or 5 spaces. We just entitled another building, 100,000 square feet, was entitled in December. They haven't built it yet, but they're moving so fast with their quantum program and their AI program that they're potentially looking for more space, and I don't think they can build this building fast enough. So again, kind of interesting what's going on. And then finally, this stat really blew me away. $119 million in venture capital came in to the city of Goleta in 2025. That was 41% of all venture capital in the Santa Barbara County came into Goleta. Really astounding. Down below, it was already mentioned, UCSB did a 10-year lease for 100,000 square feet right across from City Hall for tech incubator space. Interesting that that's going on. We had the 2 Nobel Prize winners in physics. The point I made at the chamber event was somehow all these dots connect. Not exactly sure how, but I just have this feeling that maybe this is how Silicon Valley, when we didn't even know the term Silicon Valley, felt like 45 years ago. So kind of exciting, kind of scary. I will say, I put all this out there. We didn't, it may not be all good. It may be bad. It may be scary. But for us to ignore it would be a mistake. We have to recognize it's here and embrace the positive and make sure we learn from what happened in Silicon Valley to make sure the community benefits by all this. So that's my point on that slide. Next slide. This one's also kind of interesting. This came from California Job First Invests. This is a program from the state, and they have decided they're going to invest money into 5 sectors. And the sectors are listed across the top. You can read those for yourself. Every region of California is listed on the left column. There are only two regions that have all 5 sectors. This is more than Goleta. This is the Central Coast. The Bay Area, of course, and the Central Coast. All 5 of those sectors represented. So again, something is in the air. Next slide, please. This is a map of Goleta. Some cool projects that are going on. The Sandpiper Golf Course is close to getting entitlements. That was mentioned recently. The Google project I just mentioned. Cy West is a big industrial project that's been years in the making. Actually got its approval at the Coastal Commission today. And then Fairview Gardens, a very cherished community garden space in Goleta, has plans to do some development on their property. Next slide, please. And that is the end of my slide. We wanted to make sure we had plenty of time for Q&A. So with that, I'm going to bring Mayor Paula Perotti back up to do a wrap-up and move us on to audience participation, question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Well, I want to thank my city council colleagues and city manager for your presentations this evening. I hope tonight's format has made something clear. Our accomplishments are the product of many capable hands. I am honored to be just one part of a team of city council members, staff, and residents. So before we open the floor for your questions, I return briefly to the LEAD Academy. Beyond education, it serves another vital purpose, preparing residents to shape Goleta's future, whether by staying informed, volunteering, serving on a board or commission, or even running for city council. To date, we have held 6 academies and graduated 168 residents. Most recently, 32, with a record number of students this last year. If you are a LEAD Academy graduate of any class, would you please stand and be recognized this evening? Woohoo! Thank you, thank you. Okay, well, LEAD graduates are part of why our city is strong, because they represent our investments, not only in the present, but also in Goleta's future. They are informed, they are engaged. As one resident graduate said, and I quote, "The program deepened my understanding of the many ways residents can get involved. I leave feeling inspired and more motivated than ever to stay engaged and to help shape the future of our city." I truly hope so. It's my fond hope that in the future, some of them will be standing here delivering the State of the City address as mayor of Goleta. So with that, thank you, thank you, thank you. And now it's our turn to turn the evening over to you for your questions. This is your opportunity to ask questions of all the directors and myself.
If everyone could please give a round of applause to our wonderful mayor, Paula Perotti. Thank you. And we also want to take this opportunity to congratulate Paula and her husband, Peter, on this important milestone. It is their 45th wedding anniversary tonight. Some cute pictures of them. Congratulations. She did not know we were going to do that. Okay, so this is really important to our mayor. She really does want to hear your questions, and I appreciate you all staying. Our directors are going to come up. I'm going to introduce them right now, and don't worry, they're going to be quick answers to things. So it's good questions for all of us to hear. And so now for this part, please welcome to the stage our Assistant City Manager, Jaime Valdez, our Public Works Director, Nina Buelna, our Planning and Environmental Review Director, Peter Imhoff, our General Services Director, Matt Four, our Finance Director, Luke Rio, and our Neighborhood Services Director, Joanne Plummer. And they are going to find their chairs. Okay. And I'm going to put my glasses on. Okay. So, again, these will be some of these questions, too. You can ask more at the Street Talk, which is 1 week from tonight, these types of questions. The first one, my question is, why doesn't the city have a pothole repair crew that can come each morning, receive the call-ins, and go repair them? Sure, some jobs will be larger than their crew can handle, but they could get the big potholes taken care of and then notify management and send in pics of the larger repairs. I believe potholes are doing continual damage to citizens' cars, especially in neighborhoods, and could be easily mitigated by not waiting to do anything before road repairs are processed through the city's long-winded approval process. So I believe our Public Works Director, Nina Buelna, would be the best to answer this.
Yes. Can you hear me? So we actually do have a program in place. We have City Assist, and anyone can put in a request, and we have crews that do pothole filling. So as long as you put in a request at City Assist, we can go out and fix that.
Okay, thank you. When will South Fairview Avenue be repaved from Hollister to the airport perimeter? Does the cement company pay for the damage their large trucks create? Nina Buelna, if you could answer.
So pavement is paid through the gas tuck. So every time you put your gas in at the pump, there's a percentage that comes back to the city. And we also have general fund that pays for paving projects. So it's not who drives the most or how much traffic is on the street. It's what is paid at the pump. And we're scheduled to have that section of road, I believe, in 2028.
Next question, how do we address the issue of the last mile to get train passengers from the new train station to where they work?
So this is a question about the last mile service from the train station. So there's going to be a couple of different ways to do it. I know UCSB is planning to have some shuttle services done through the university for some of their folks, either staff or students. We've been in continual talks with MTD. They're facing some challenges right now in terms of funding. We've also talked to employers about having shuttles. And then we also have made it a point to make the station very welcoming to, bikes, e-bikes, scooters, all that kind of type of mode of transportation, to really encourage the use and the actual delivery of the person to the work site and then back to the station. So it's gonna vary depending on the person, on where they work, how far they are. But there's quite a bit of ways to get around, and I think the biggest part is getting them here to Goleta first.
Great, thank you. Next question. The Glen Annie Housing Project proposed. How is the city and the county coordinating on it, or are they? Also, what's up with the sphere of influence change?
So I can answer the Glen Annie. We're working very closely with our partners at the county. So we have an open dialogue. We review the plans that are provided. So we're doing our due diligence with the county.
Hi, good evening. And on the sphere of influence, the Goleta City Council authorized staff on February 17th to move forward with a sphere of influence application. The city has been in dialogue with county staff, and we are preparing that application now to submit to the Local Area Formation Commission, which is responsible for that boundary change. And we expect that that will be submitted pretty soon, and then they'll move forward with their review and processing of that. And it's important to emphasize that that sphere change doesn't really change any of the underlying land uses. Those land uses have already been decided by Santa Barbara County under its jurisdiction.
Thank you. Next question. We have seen a wave of tactics and terror from ICE, one being calling police to protect them from community observers. How can you all ensure that none of our resources go to supporting ICE from terrorizing our community?
I can try to attempt to answer that question. The council has made it very clear last year, particularly in July, in terms of investments and then also securing commitments from all of our partners to ensure that city staff is trained and aware of what to do if a certain situation would arise with ICE agents. We have not had to deal with that at city facilities yet, but we have also made it clear to the sheriff's office, to the fire department, to anyone else who we work closely with, so that they understand the priorities and the protections that the council wants to institute. All of this gets done collaboratively, as the mayor has talked about all evening. I think even Council Member Reyes-Martin talked about it in terms of working with partners in our area. But from the city side, we can certainly control what we can, and we have done everything we can to this point.
Great, thank you. Next question, please talk briefly about the Shelby project and its impact on transportation in the area. Also, will Glen Annie Golf Course remain?
So the Shelby project, I believe, is 41 homes? 56 homes. So that was all studied through our transportation program, and it was minimal impacts due to the amount of trips.
Yeah, I don't know what else there is to add about the project itself. The location near Dos Pueblos High School, of course, complicates the traffic situation, and it's complicated by the fact that the county is proposing the development at Glen Annie. So there is, a cumulative effect, but as Director Buelna signaled, we look at the project impacts on their merits for that project principally, and that contribution is not significant by itself.
Next question, why is San Mateo Street still unpaved, unlike all others in the Encanto Heights area? Grass is now growing in the potholes.
So I want to talk a little bit about our pavement management approach. We're only allotted a certain amount of money every year to do all the paving we have in the city. We have 85 center lane miles of roadway within the city that we have to maintain. It's probably our largest asset. So we're given approximately $6 million a year, including design and construction management, construction contingency. So we do a lot of work in-house to do value engineering to stretch the dollar. So we look at the project holistically. We look at traffic indexes. We look at the age of the street. And we look at the TI, which is how thick the road is, essentially. And we develop these projects that we do annually. And San Mateo is an additive alternate for 2026.
Thank you, Nina. And again, we have the Street Talk next week that you can ask so many of these questions and more and learn so much. Could we ask the businesses along Ward Drive to develop dark skies lighting to help reduce light pollution?
So we already do have a dark skies policy, and anything that goes to our design review board typically does require a lighting plan, and our design review board does review those projects and their lighting for dark skies compliance, so I think the answer is yes.
Great. And this one would be for our Neighborhood Services Director, Joanne Plummer. What is the plan for the senior center, and what is the vision moving forward for senior activities for Goleta seniors? Can everyone see Joanne?
I'm going to stand up because I can't see some beautiful faces out here. The plan for the senior center is come. We love our seniors, and we're expanding programs on an everyday basis. The senior center is open Monday through Friday during the week in the morning hours. We're starting to expand our programs into the afternoon. We're recruiting instructors. We are starting to expand into a fee service program too for those that are interested in paying a service, but we also have free programs as well. We serve a nutrition program Monday through Friday as well at no cost to those residents that are eligible, and we can help you get you signed up. And we have information available outside of our senior center. Our senior center was open this evening, so feel free to come in and tour it. We have programs that take place inside the senior center and throughout the building Monday through Friday. We have Dory, our senior center coordinator, in the back of the room, and she's happy to answer any questions throughout the evening, so feel free.
Thank you, Joanne. And for our next question, it's in Spanish, so I'm going to bring up our Spanish engagement specialist, Marco Martinez, to read the question and help us with it.
Hi everyone, buenas tardes, buenas noches. I'll read in Spanish first, and then I'll translate in English. ¿Qué puedo hacer para tener un lugar para traer el registro civil de Guanajuato, México, para ayudar a la doble nacionalidad? Esta pregunta viene de un miembro del Club Migrante Adobe. So English translation. What can I do to have a space for the Civil Registry of Guanajuato to come to Goleta to help our Latino community apply for a double citizenship? And this is from the migrant group Adovi, A-D-O-V-I.
Well, I'll just start in English. If whoever that wrote that, I can get their contact information. I will try to find the right person to help you. It's outside of what the city does on a typical basis. La persona que dio la pregunta, si puede encontrarme después, voy a tratar de ayudarles a encontrar la persona que les puede ayudar, pero ahorita esto no es algo que la ciudad hace para sus residentes.
Thank you, Jaime. And some of these I can answer. I'm so excited. And we all talked about them. Splash pad, when is it opening? As you all saw, we are having a ribbon cutting May 21st at 3 o'clock. And they did say, maybe someone can answer this, no cap, please, on the splash pad. No cap, maybe not like as many people? Oh, no cap. Okay, I thought it meant capacity. So no, that's our goal. We're moving towards May 21st, right? Yes, we're planning a fun ribbon cutting. We hope you all will go. And what are some upcoming community events? We talked about them. But we have the splash pad. We have Street Talk next week. We have the Senior Expo on the 23rd. We have the drone show coming up. We have Beautify Goleta this weekend. We are chock full of events. And then one that you all don't know about that is going to be announced, so it's very exclusive for this group. No, just kidding. We're doing a coffee in community on May 16th with Councilmember Luis Reyes Martin. It's going to be at Lighthouse Coffee in Goleta. And those are really fun just to hang out and talk and ask questions in a casual environment. So we hope you go to that as well. So lots of opportunities to connect with you all in the future. And our last question of the night, and it's not even a question, it's a recommendation. It would be great to film this State of the City and Q&A and send it out afterwards. You got it. I'm happy to report that this is well documented tonight. We have Paul Westmacott, who's videoing, and we have Jay Farbman, who's taking photos for us. We are recording this. We will make this available. We will send it out on all of our channels. And we're so grateful, though, that you showed up in person tonight and took time out to be here with us. Thank you so much. And have a great night, everybody. Thank you for caring about where you live.